everyone. Welcome to another week of Cover 3 on Yahoo Sports. I'm Michelle Gingras. Kimberly Martin joins us from the Bay Area this week after covering the Niners-Packers game. We'll get back to that a little bit later. And as always, Liz Loza holding it down for us in LA and lots to talk about. After an exciting Sunday in the NFL, we'll help make some quarterback decisions for teams already looking ahead to next season. And our friend Tyler C stops by for some Thanksgiving football debates. We'll also preview the highly anticipated Rams-Ravens Monday Night Football matchup. But first, as always, it's time to run the option. Sunday Night Football was supposed to be a potential NFC Championship matchup, but the Niners dominated from kickoff, holding the Packers to just 8 points and 198 yards and a stellar defensive performance. So, Liz, let's kick things off with you. What did we learn from last night's Niners rout? That the Packers aren't as good as we thought, or that the Niners are?
Well, I think that both things can be true, but I absolutely believe that the 49ers are not pretending. Their D-line got after Aaron Rodgers, and this Green Bay Packers offense is completely thin in terms of weapons. I mean, outside of Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, you've got a bunch of ancillary pieces that are not going to allow the Packers to do what they have always done, which is come from behind and make those great highlight plays. I loved seeing the 49ers defense get real, and I also love the fact that this 49ers offense wasn't just about the run. Obviously, you can run on the Packers, but also Jimmy G, for the second week in a row, was efficient through the air.
Okay, Kimberly, what are your thoughts?
So here's what I learned. Not to doubt the 49ers, and I don't think anyone should either. Walking around that locker room last night, this is a team that thought it was going to be in the Super Bowl at the end of the season. They knew this in training camp. They knew it in OTAs. They saw the talent, and I think the rest of us are just starting to see how special this team is.
All right, well, it won't get any easier for them. 2 tough weeks coming up. So moving on, the Patriots moved to 10-1 after defeating the Cowboys 13-9 on Sunday. And while this defense may very well be championship ready, the offense has struggled to put points on the board, scoring just 1 touchdown last night. And get this, guys, failing to score over 21 points for the 3rd straight game. Kimberly, does this offense have what it takes to win a Super Bowl? Yes or no?
Honestly, I think this is a really silly question because I just covered the Super Bowl where the Rams lost 13-3 to who? The Patriots. Defense wins championships. The Patriots have the best defense in the NFL. Brady, I've seen it enough where the offense may struggle, but eventually he figures it out. But really, they're so loaded. They have one of the best actually the best cornerback in the NFL in Gilmore.
Woo!
I'm not worried about the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about the Patriots. I understand why other people may be because of all of the stats that Michelle just pointed out, and that offense has struggled. In fact, Tom Brady himself said heading into this game that he wanted to see the defense and special teams, who are the obvious highlights of the team, be more elevated, which meant running the ball, and they're able to do that. They're going to get healthier, guys. Mohamed Sanu has a high ankle sprain. He's going to get back. Philip Dorsett was out in this one with a concussion. He's going to clear protocol. You saw N'Keal Harry, the first-round pick, score a touchdown. He's a great contested catch receiver. You've got Jacoby Myers, who's another rookie, a really precise route runner. He's a consistent chain mover. They're going to get healthy. And most importantly, they got Isaiah Wynn back for that O-line, which I think definitely helped getting Sony Michel and the run game going. They're going to be fine. They always are.
It seems like they might get healthy at just the right time as well. So on the other side of that game, we're going to talk about the Cowboys. It's the same conversation that I feel like we've had in one form or another many times on this show. So you guys probably know what I'm about to ask you. But given Jerry Jones' post-game comments on Jason Garrett getting quote-unquote out-coached, Kimberly, let me ask you one more time. Was this the game that finally sealed Garrett's fate or not?
It should, it should be. I know everybody's mad at Jason Garrett, but you know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at Jerry Jones because we all knew who Jason Garrett was beforehand. We knew heading into the season that he was a guy that was going to get you to 8-8, 9-7, but is he going to take you to the promised land where Jerry's trying to go? No. And I think last night's game was a clear indication of the fan base's growing frustration with Garrett. He's on a lame duck contract. Like, he's not guaranteed next year. I don't think he'll be back, and I think there's been enough evidence for Jerry Jones to finally move on from Jason Garrett.
All right, Lizzie, what's your take?
I think Kimberly's 100% correct. I mean, I don't know how many field goal attempts and how many close losses we need to see. I mean, we've been doing this dance for close to a decade, right? And while I appreciate Jerry Jones's loyalty, my goodness, the world, not just the NFL, could use more of that. Towards Jason Garrett, enough is enough at a certain point. And I think also now Jerry Jones has options because as our own Charles Robinson reported here on Cover 3, you got Urban Meyer and Lincoln Riley interested in this job. So I think this may finally be the year we move on.
All right, we'll see what happens. Time will tell. That's it for Run the Option. But like we do every week, we like to spend a little bit more time breaking down one topic. And today's a fun one. You guys get to play general managers again. So now that we're in the final or last quarter, I guess, of the season, teams are looking to the future of their rosters. That first means that they're looking at who their quarterback might be. A question the Steelers were asking themselves in game yesterday after benching Mason Rudolph. Here's Mike Tomlin.
You'll make more out of Ducks' contributions than need be, so be it. It comes with the position. They get too much credit at times. They get too much blame at times. They all understand the nature of that, just like I understand the nature of the criticisms and things that come with my position.
Okay, so maybe Mason isn't the next guy now, and you've got Big Ben coming back next season, but he's 38 years old, and he's coming off of a major injury. So, Liz, what do you do here if you're the Steelers?
I mean, I think you have to move on, right? The Big Ben elbow injury at the top of the season forced you to look at what you had in Mason Rudolph, and you thought that was going to be the guy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have dealt Josh Dobbs to Jacksonville on the heels of the Nick Foles injury. But he's clearly not. I mean, his YPA is 6.2. You got Duck Hodges out there out of Samford trying to win games. It's ridiculous. And by the way, what is the excuse for the Steelers on the heels of that Browns game where Mason Rudolph, was using terms like Bush League to not show up and play big? You have got to move on. Maybe Big Ben is back in 2020, but beyond that, lots of question marks.
Kimberly, got anything to add?
Yeah, I think Roethlisberger is the guy next year, right? But again, we're going to get into a lot of these veteran quarterbacks where at some point you got to move on. The longer you delay the inevitable, you're in bad shape.
Yeah, so I aged him a little bit. He'll actually be 38 next year, but you guys are seeming to think that he's still the guy next year, so at least the immediate future. So 37, 38 doesn't seem to matter too much. But speaking about teams being in dire situations with veteran quarterbacks, let's move on to another team that is in that situation. With an aging star quarterback from the 2004 draft, if you haven't figured out who I'm talking about, it's the Chargers and Phillip Rivers. He currently does not have a contract for next season, and the Chargers are in an interesting spot. Kimberly, do you run it back with Phil, or do the Chargers need to move on?
I think we've been inching closer to they need to move on for quite a while. Phillip Rivers has been a great regular season quarterback, but in crunch time, in the playoffs, he just doesn't take me where I want to go. So I think at this point, it's time that Anthony Lynn goes younger at quarterback.
I think Kimberly's 100% correct. There's a lot of issues. I know that Phillip Rivers has thrown, 7 interceptions over his last 2 games. And yes, his offensive line missing both tackles is obvious trash. But he is also making decisions that aren't following through. I almost think that he is making decisions that his body can no longer follow through on. And that's why you're seeing all of these picks in clutch situations. And this team is trying to sell seat licenses at a new stadium, and they're having trouble. And the only way you're going to get people interested in buying tickets is to reboot this franchise, and that starts with the quarterback.
All right, so from QBs in the 2004 draft to the 2015 draft, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota's futures seem particularly uncertain with their teams at the moment. Can't believe that we're saying that, given that they were the number 1 and 2 pick coming out of their draft class. But we'll start with Jameis and the Bucks. Liz, is Jameis the answer in Tampa, or is it time for them to move on?
Is he the answer? I mean, I think we've spent 5 years figuring out that he is in fact not. And this year was the make or break deal. I mean, they lulled Bruce Arians, the quarterback whisperer, out of retirement to fix the Winston problem. And in fact, that's obviously his interceptions, right? And in fact, his touchdown to turnover ratio has gotten worse in 2019.
Okay, very good. On the other side, Ryan Tannehill has taken over in Tennessee. Kimberly, what does that mean for Mariota and for the Titans?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that Mariota is starting quarterback material right now, right? If I'm Mariota, I would want to actually see him in Green Bay. I want to see him learn from a future Hall of Famer. I want to see him sit and reassess and actually just learn the position. He's had so much turnover with coaches. I think he needs to just sort of hit the reset button. I mean, he's a guy that in college, he was great, right? They were scheming things up. Guys were open. It was electric. And then he gets to the NFL, has no anticipation, gets nervous when he's got to think off script. And Rodgers, that's a perfect pairing. He can learn from a guy who's money when things break down and he's got to audible and he's got to go off script. So I think Green Bay is actually a good spot for Mariota.
Very interesting.
I like that idea a lot, Kimberly. I think Mariota is a guy who's always struggled with mechanics, and he's had a bunch of different offensive coordinators who have tried to fix the issue. And it's interesting that basically his facsimile, Ryan Tannehill, is doing what he couldn't. So I agree. I think like being coached up, but he's definitely backup material at this point. My God, if the Bears take him, I'm gonna do something not great.
All right, well, as always, plenty of storylines for NFL teams, even out of playoff contention. It'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Coming up, though, we're hosting an early Thanksgiving debate with Tyler Cameron, who also is Liz's latest guest on Let's Play. Check it out.
Hey, Liz Loza here with Tyler Cameron. Tyler, love is complicated.
Yeah, I've learned.
Football can also be complicated.
It definitely can be complicated.
But you are here to simplify at least the football side of things.
I will do my best, yes.
All right, so you played tight end in college.
I sure did.
What was your favorite play?
My favorite play, we're going to call it bunch left, Y left, post wheel.
All right, so let's play bunch left, Y left, post wheel.
Here we got bunch left, so we got our two receivers over here. We're going to call it Y left because I'm going to motion in.
That's the tight end.
This is the tight end right here.
Okay.
So I'm going to motion Y left into bunch left. So motion in across. I'm going to kind of get right here behind the tackle and the receivers to kind of hide myself a little bit.
Hiding behind a bunch of players.
Exactly. There you go. So what we're going to do here in this bunch is we're going to kind of send everybody in different directions to kind of cause a little chaos for the defense.
Nice.
So we're going to send this guy on a drag route, run across their faces. This guy right here is going to run a deep post, and he's going to try and pull this cornerback with him. So we got a post here, and hopefully he occupies the safety as well. And then I'm going to sneak out of the back and run a wheel route. And the quarterback is going to try and hit me on the sidelines about 15 to 20 yards. And then it's on me to run, get to the end zone, and hopefully score and do my little end zone dance. You hit the little Victor Cruz salsa, you know?
Thank you, Tyler, for sharing your favorite play with us. The bunch left, Y left, post wheel. Can't wait for my next play date.
And joining us now from Los Angeles with Liz is the one and only Tyler Cameron. Tyler, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
We'd love to have you on the show. Liz is very excited right now. Thanksgiving is obviously coming up, and that means two things, football and arguing with your family, or in this case, your friends. We thought we'd combine the two and make you guys stand at a little Thanksgiving table here and debate some topics that you may actually be arguing as the games go on Thursday. So you guys will have 40 seconds per debate, and I get to decide who wins and who loses to crown our ultimate Thanksgiving champion. So you guys ready for this challenge?
Yes, Michelle, just remember who your co-host is, and don't be charmed by Mr. Blue Eyes over here.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. No promises,
Let's
Lizzie.
go.
No promises there. All right, so our first Thanksgiving game is Liz's Bears against the Lions. So Liz, we'll stick with the Bears for our first debate. The clock starts when I finish the question. So that being said, who should the Bears move on from first, Ryan Pace or Mitch Trubisky?
Oh, well, you know how I feel about Mitch Trubisky. And I know how I feel about Ryan Pace, but I gotta say, the problem right now is Mitch Trubisky. I know Ryan Pace is part of the problem, and he chose Mitch Trubisky, but he also got us Khalil Mack, and I think that I can forgive him for bringing some defense back to the city.
This is where you're wrong. So Ryan Pace went and drafted ahead of everybody, moved up in the draft, drafted him over Patrick Mahomes, over Lamar Jackson.
Deshaun Watson, too. Why don't you just pile on? Okay.
You know, this guy had many opportunities to pick the right guy, and he didn't.
Nope.
He picked Mitch Trubisky, who only started for 1 year in college football.
These are facts.
So I'm going to have to go with Ryan Pace and get him out of here.
Oh, Oh, how convenient that the whistle stopped right then.
Wow.
All right. Either way, the Bears need to move on from
Both.
Yes.
You know
that
what,
we agree
Lizzie?
on.
I know how strongly you feel about Mitch Trubisky, but I got to give this one to Tyler. He brought it, and now I think he's right. They should move on from Ryan Pace first. All right, so that's 1 point for Tyler C. And the second game of the day is the 8-3 Bills against the 6-5 Cowboys. The Cowboys seem to be a little bit more interesting to talk about this season, so we will stick with them. Debate number 2. Who is more important to the Cowboys, Dak or Zeke?
Why don't you go first this time,
All right.
friend?
So I'm going to go with Zeke. Last night we saw the Patriots play, right? And Dak had his chance. That was his money game. That was his chance to prove himself, MVP, and he blew it. They put up 9 points. And Zeke's been consistent for them throughout the years. He's the one who's always put the Cowboys on his back. I'm going with Zeke.
Okay.
And they paid him.
Oh, they did pay Zeke, so they are more financially invested in the run game. But hello, Dak Prescott has been bailing Jason Garrett's BS calls out game after game. He's elevating this passing game and giving the Cowboys some balance. You got Michael Gallup, you got Amari Cooper, both of these guys getting 100 yards. Maybe that didn't happen in Stephon Gilmore's coverage last Sunday.
Nope.
But come on, Dak is gonna get paid, and Jason Garrett's gonna get fired. And I think Dak is clearly right now more important to the team because he gives them balance.
He gives them balance, but that balance comes from Zeke. Without Zeke, there is no balance.
I mean, have you
that
seen
was
Tony
the
Pollard
whistle.
play?
Yeah,
That
but
was
come
the
on, Zeke has been
whistle.
doing
Tony
for
Pollard's
years.
getting it done on both sides. What?
Okay, you guys probably both missed the whistle, but Liz, since you finished before it, you get the point for that one. So we're tied up. The last game of the day is my New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons, a matchup between maybe two of the best receivers in the league. So that will be our third debate. Who's the better wideout, Michael Thomas or Julio Jones? Lizzie, take it away.
I mean, Michelle did say she's a Saints fan, so I have to go with Michael Thomas, who is
you are.
also
Of course you are.
the most efficient receiver in the league with a catch rate of over 82% and a contested catch rate of over 83%. And don't at me about that Drew Brees is super accurate, and that's why Michael Thomas is so good.
All right, so I'm just going to go from one great talking about another great.
All right.
You ever seen the clip where Larry Fitzgerald was talking to Kyler Murray? He goes, look at that man right there. And he's talking about Julio Jones. He goes, that man has no weakness. That man's the best to ever do it. And with that being said, I'm going to have to go with Julio Jones because the man has no weaknesses. He's the most explosive. He's strong. He's got that toe tap down like no other. He's the man.
Jerry Rice agrees with you, by
Yeah.
the way. Earlier in November, he came out, but still, Michael Thomas is so efficient.
Yeah, sorry. This one, Michael Thomas. Got to give it to him. He's been absolutely phenomenal this year.
Wow.
Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a Saints fan at all. But
We need
yeah.
someone else
Yeah.
here doing the judging because that was too much home cooking right there.
2 points to Lizzie. All right, enough football on Thanksgiving. Let's talk about who you're watching all of that football with. Debate number 4. What's a better way to spend your day? Family Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving? Tyler, what do you think?
I'm about to go with family Thanksgiving. If I didn't say that, my mom would whip my butt. But no, I mean, I've been traveling around like crazy right now. I miss my family, so I am so excited to have them for family Thanksgiving. I don't know about you, but family's more important to me.
Oh, wow. Way to stick it to me. First of all, I like your mom. And as someone who has 2 tiny kids, I'm going to say Friendsgiving because it's real annoying to parent on a day off, especially when I'm chasing these little rugrats all around, though I do love them the most. And so how about we say both?
All right, I can't
A
argue
friends
that.
and family giving and all of the people you're thankful for.
Usually friends are involved in my family giving.
That,
so
all right, that
makes
makes it
sense.
very difficult for me to crown a winner. But Liz, I have to agree with you. Every time I go home, my parents
Really?
Wow.
they seem to just tell me that I drink too much wine or that I'm spending too much time with my friends and not enough time with them. So I think, maybe a friends and family is a good way to get it. But Liz, you got there first, so you get the point. Lastly,
Wow, I really am surprised.
and I love my family. Nothing against my family. So Tyler, I see where you're coming from too. Lastly,
You
we've
girls are
got the
sticking
Ravens.
together. I'll give you that. I'll give you
Rams.
credit to that.
You get it. You get a half a point. Ravens-Rams Monday night game tonight out there with you guys in LA. Tyler, you actually spent a little time with the Ravens in camp after college. So we'll end the debate on tonight's game. Who has more rushing yards tonight, Todd Gurley or Lamar Jackson? Tyler, your take first.
I'm going with Lamar Jackson. He's averaging probably like around 70 yards a game. Gurley, he's very on and off. Sometimes his carries, he's got high volume. Sometimes he doesn't. Lamar's consistent about 10 or 12 yards and always like a big run or two in the game. So I'm going with Lamar.
You are right in that Lamar is averaging more rushing yards per game than Todd Gurley, but Todd Gurley is coming off of a game in which he touched the ball 27 times. So I think tonight, when you look at the secondary that the Ravens have, and yes, their run defense is very good, especially with Brandon Williams healthy, I still think that Todd Gurley is going to do more than Lamar because he's not going to have Aaron Donald breathing down his neck.
So who's going to have the longer run today?
I mean, probably Lamar.
That's what I like to hear.
I think you're right there. I actually lost count, so I'm going to give that one to Tyler, but I think that still makes Liz the winner for this one. So, Tyler, thank you.
Home field advantage.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, she earned this one, all right? She's been working hard. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up, we preview that Rams-Ravens game, but first we asked Aaron Donald to cover 3 for us. Top 3 defensive tackles of all time.
That's tough. You got John Randall. You got to have John Randall. The passion he played mean, was super productive, was unstoppable. Warren Sapp, everybody know Warren Sapp. Great football player. Did a lot of different things as far as, changing the game, as far as, getting out the quarterback with that chop club and things like that. So, and the third, Leroy Glover. Leroy Glover, he had 17 sacks in one season. So, another great guy that's big and strong and that was productive. So.
Okay, how about top 3 types of workouts?
A leg press. I got to work my core. I always got to do my core after every workout, and I'm gonna add 2. I'm gonna say my triceps and biceps. I do that after every workout as well. So.
Okay, and last but not least, top 3 places to eat in LA on a cheat day.
On a cheat day? Mm-hmm. You got Joey's. Got to go to Joey's. Really, everything advertises everything like chicken. That's one of my things. Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut's one of my cheat days as well. I got to get my Pizza Hut. What else would I say? Delilah's. Delilah's is pretty good. We go to the defensive line all the time, and we ordering everything once we get in that back room. So.
Okay, big Monday Night Football matchup tonight between the Ravens and the Rams. Kickoff is slated for 8:15 Eastern Time. You can catch that right here on the Yahoo Sports app following our show. And it's funny that I'm even asking this question given the fact that this team was in the Super Bowl last year. But Kimberly, is this a must-win for the Rams?
Oh man, all of these are must-wins for the Rams. They have no margin for error at 6-4. Because look at that, just look at that division. They're behind the Seahawks, they're behind the 49ers, and they've got the Ravens, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks on deck. It is not pretty. This team is not at all what we saw last year. And that since the Super Bowl, I don't know what to make of this team. Todd Gurley has looked good at times, but he hasn't looked like himself. Goff, without a strong running game that can take the pressure off him, he just looks completely lost at times. And they've had a lot of injuries and a lot of pieces on defense that haven't translated on the field. So I think the Rams are in trouble.
Liz, this is a team that you enjoy watching. You kind of claim them as your local team at least. What do you think's gone wrong for the Rams so far this year?
Well, I think Kimberly hit on a lot of points. I mean, the offensive line hasn't been as healthy, hasn't been as effective. Andrew Whitworth is another year older. I also think they've had some trouble in the receiving core in terms of health. Brandon Cooks missed a lot of games, and if Brandon Cooks isn't there to stretch the field, that hurts Cooper Kupp's efficacy. And obviously, we know that Kupp is a safety valve for Jared Goff. And the biggest point, Kimberly hit it on the head. Without this run game, cooking, and you've got Todd Gurley's arthritic knee, Jared Goff just isn't able to perform under pressure. We saw it in the Super Bowl, and defenses have keyed on blitzing him, and he is just melting when pressures and blitzes come his way.
All right, you echoed some great points. So, Kimberly, the Ravens win if blank.
The Ravens win if Lamar's Lamar, but more importantly, if Marcus Peters has another revenge game against another former team of his.
All right, Lizzie, the Rams win if blank.
Oh, I think it's going to be tough for the Rams. I do think that the Ravens are going to take this one, but I think Marcus Peters is going to be a key, because if you can get him to freelance a little bit and be a little too confident, and maybe Brandon Cooks beats Marcus Peters and can give that passing game a boost, maybe Goff and company can keep pace with whatever Lamar is going to do, which, I'm so excited for this dang game.
It's going to be a fun matchup. All right, so let's move on. Every weekend, the internet gives us some great content to debate about. This weekend was no different. So it's time for us to pick teams. First up, Dwayne Haskins picked up his first career NFL victory after throwing for 156 yards and just 1 interception against the Lions on Sunday. Haskins was so fired up to pick up the W that he started posing for selfies with fans. Unfortunately, the game wasn't over, and Washington had to send out backup Case Keenum for a victory formation kneel down. So, Liz, are you team selfie or team selfish?
Oh, Team Selfish, are you kidding me? You can't cry after this giant win like it's some giant victory, a moral victory, hugging your coach, and then not finish the job. Also, Dwayne, maybe it's taken this long to get under center because you weren't studying and finishing all of the not so exciting homework that was assigned to you.
Okay. Kimberly, what's your take?
All right. I'm gonna say Team Selfie. I get it. I get that he's gotta be focused on the game, but I think so much this is so overblown in DC. I mean, the kid doesn't help himself at times, but really, like, let's move on now.
I gotta say Team Selfie here, only from the standpoint of the fact, and I totally understand your point, Liz, but only from the standpoint of like, he has worked so hard in his mind for this win and to finally get it and to be just the hype and everything going on around him. I think he just embraced it. He wasn't thinking with his head. He obviously didn't look on the field to make sure the game was over, but you gotta give it to him, let him enjoy the moment, all right? So next up, let's head to the Lone Star State for a showdown between the Texas Longhorns and the 11th ranked Baylor Bears. Texas coach Tom Herman, trying to fire up his team before the game, actually headbutted one of his own players several times. It didn't work as Baylor beat Texas 24-10. So Kimberly, are you team headbutt or team butthead?
Team Butthead. Listen, I'm not trying to ruin all this headbutting. No, he could have given himself a concussion. Really, what are we doing? Slap a guy on the butt and keep it moving. Let's go.
All right, Liz, what's your take?
Yes, I 100% agree with Kimberly. Team spank and move on. Don't mess with all. I mean, Kimberly said it perfectly. I got nothing. Team butthead.
All right, yeah, and I'm gonna round it out. Team butthead on that. I mean, just like listen to some hype music or do something else. I mean, this is a little too much, especially like in the age that we live in with all of the head injuries and things like that. So, finally, we go to Chicago, where the Bears got back in the win column with a 19-14 win over the Giants. But the biggest winner of the day was this Bears fan, who somehow managed to sneak not only an entire pumpkin pie into the game, but also a full can of whipped cream. So Liz, are you resident Bears fan, or are you team holiday spirit or team security risk? I'm sorry, as our resident Bear fan.
I am team holiday spirit. Those are my people. And if you think pumpkin pie and whipped cream is getting smuggled, you ain't never taken the train to the game, because in those Starbucks cups, you got Bloody Marys and not coffee, let me tell you.
They were watching the Bears and the Giants. I'm team holiday spirit. And also, I'm a fat kid at heart, so I give that guy a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit.
Also, we know what the concession stand prices are. I mean, like, that's pretty expensive. You can sneak that stuff in there. You're great. Golden. Team holiday spirit all the way. And that is a wrap for Cover 3 for this week. For Kimberly and Liz, thanks for watching. Be sure to keep it locked on the Yahoo app for Ravens vs. Rams. Coming up next, we'll see you right here next week.
I didn't think about it. I really didn't think about it. You know, after the game, when I saw all the cameras, you know, I was like, man, I passed Barry. You know, Barry, one of the best, or probably the best to do it.
It was still up in there when they stopped the clock, so I don't know. Everyone who says Patriot gets advantages. I don't know about that.
My glass is full as hell, and it's going to get real full in a minute.
There's something about playing on Thanksgiving that I remember when I was a kid. I'd growing up in Texas, I'd always be watching the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, right? Watching football. I mean, football just goes with Thanksgiving, right? It's like you can't have one without the other. And so to ever think that someday I'd be playing on Thanksgiving, probably never thought that would happen.